Surrounded by. I am surrounded by.
I'm often surrounded by.
The entire system is surrounded by
Freaking idiots.
Surrounded by them. Idiots.
Well, I am here right now.
Yeah.
My man. But first off, let's just preface it with this. The man has over 97 IMDb credits.
Is that a lot?
Acting alone. Is that a lot? You know there's a nigga showing off his one to everybody he know. Oh, well, you know I was in yeah. You saw that joint. Yeah. You know, it's like, bro. Here with Mr. Malcom Barrett.
Hey.
Man, bro, like first off, nothing but respect. Cause one of the things, even not just from like working with you and just I've always seen you, like, I've seen your face in everything. Like, in so many of my favorite shows, unknowingly. Like, bro, I didn't even know you, and I you know, the Sunny episode was one of my,
yeah.
But, like, early. Like, you're a part of things before they're things. Key and Peele, like, and those are just the little pocket gigs. Not, like, the things that, like, Better Off Ted that are, like, cult classics. And you know what I mean? And, like, timeless. Like, cons, conventions and shit. Like, bro, you've done such a huge body of work. Like a huge body of work. And that's incredible. That's incredible to me.
Can I tell you, I didn't really think you'd know anything about my career. I thought
What?
I was like, all right, we just see each other, we're cool. I didn't even think. I was like, you nailed like at least four of these. I would be really excited.
Bro, okay.
You know what's funny? Because I'll do podcasts with folks I know just because they cool, but they don't always know shit.
That's even why I sent you the link, because I was like, he's probably like, how ghetto is this gonna be? I like the guy. I'll go. You already thought I lived at the trap house.
I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think he's doing better than this. You know, I don't know. I was like, I live very humbly. I don't know.
maybe he's on the same path.
You know what I mean?
Smart young black man.
You know what I mean?
Listen, just so you really understand how deep this goes, and you're gonna be like, oh, this guy's crazy. Bro, I've known your face from, this was like the first time I would honestly say, like, I just knew your face from this because they used to run this all the time on, of course.
If this is a waffle stick commercial, I'll be.
How did you know? How did you know, bro? I have to show this on the thing, bro. It's one of the.
Is it really?
Bro, you know why though? Because I saw it so much.
Joking.
I saw it so
hilarious.
much. Hold on, I have to pull this up.
That's hilarious.
Good old technical difficulties, ladies.
That's fine. I will tell you this. That's hilarious. I was just joking. What's funny is you talk about all the things that I've done, and I feel good about them, and I really do. I feel like I've done a couple things.
I've done a couple things.
I've done a couple things.
Just a few.
But what's funny is, to this day, my brother, I'm from Brooklyn. Me and my brother, Brooklyn, the Bronx. He lives in the Bronx now. To this day, he'll be like, "Yo, you remember when you was in the Waffle Sticks commercial? Remember that? You like, you remember that?"
He was like, bro, I'm gonna get on my phone, bro. You don't understand. Like, I saw that commercial so much. So then I remember when I saw, I think it was probably when I was a kid, I saw Sunny, because I started watching Sunny early. And then I'm like, oh, I've seen this guy's face before. But then it's like repeatedly over time, like it just consistently happens, and you work on so much great shit. So like, yeah, so you're from Brooklyn.
I am, yeah.
And then what got you into like even this space?
I think I was always a performer, or in some way vocal, when I was very young.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? My whole family is really funny. I come from a funny family. I think like the rule of my family was like, as long as it's funny, you could say it. Like my mom didn't want me cursing or anything like that. But if it was hilarious when I did it, like it was probably okay. You know what I mean?
That's dope, though.
So, like, I think all of us are probably performers. I'm just one of the only ones who, like, pursued it as a professional job.
Okay.
Do you know? Like, my mom is, like, she's the biggest star at church. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
the biggest one. Like, she volunteers at the soup kitchen. She makes an entrance at the soup kitchen. Do you know what I mean? She
Mhm.
come
She's
in,
showing
like, yeah, Miss Barrett's here. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
There's not as many people. Do you know what I mean? It's television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she's out there. She's hitting her mark.
Every time.
You know what I mean?
That's dope.
You know, my brother too. Like, if you see me around my family, I'm actually quiet around my family because they're so they're funny. Because they're funny and they're loud and they're obnoxious.
They're boisterous.
And yeah, they're a boisterous group. They're real boisterous. You know,
That's
my
funny.
brother in particular, like, my brother's hilarious because my brother speaks he's just one of those dudes. I always have to translate for people when he's talking, like, because he's from Brooklyn and the Bronx, and like old school. You know what I mean? This is
Yeah.
80s, 90s. This is like Beat Street.
Okay, guys.
Do you know what I mean? These are documentaries. So it's so funny because it was like, you know, you'll talk to him and he'd be like, yeah, you know, boom, I was straight snoring, whatever, you know, get my zines, whatever, clocking, you know, boom, it went like that, you know, about it, like, you know, I put it down, you know, woo, 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 you know, and he's just like, yeah, he was tired from working too much. Like that,
And people are just looking at
It
you.
was like,
What?
all right, yeah, I was like, that's basically what he said. You know?
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
man, I don't feel like you get that out here as much. New York has that like element where like people have like old school still feels really old school.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because he also didn't go anywhere.
So he's there.
It's really easy to keep the nostalgia up. If you don't do anything
Gentrification
else.
hasn't hit your part of Brooklyn yet?
Not my part of Brooklyn, yes. Where I grew up, like, because I grew up in Bed-Stuy. Like, everyone who hears this is gonna make fun of. I always get made fun of because people who meet me new always think I'm like from Brooklyn, like today, like I'm really here yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And it's because I mention it every 5 seconds. It's a bad habit. Everybody from Brooklyn, you know what? You're never surprised when somebody's from Brooklyn. It's like, oh, you never mention it. Like, that's never happened.
That is true.
No
That
one's
is
ever
true.
not mentioned it. It was like, really? I know him 38 years. He never mentioned he was from there.
Yeah, no.
Um,
So you're from Brooklyn.
yeah. No one ever knows that. But yeah, my part is a lot of it is gentrified. Like, I mean, the parts that are white are gentrified. The parts that aren't are not.
It's a pretty clear line.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then also there's the parts that are like, I mean, what's fun is going to the parts of the neighborhood that are like, that have been made better by the people who's been living there.
Yeah.
Like, that's always like good, and you feel like you're at home. Like, you know, it's always funny. Like, you know, I live in West Hollywood now. Should I say that? It doesn't matter. Who's going over there? But
If you want to know, it's 312
yeah, it's
Ridgeway Drive.
312 Malcolm Barrett Drive. But it's
I knew it was a Malcolm X drive. Not on this side of town.
It's not gonna be safe no matter what. It's Malcolm X or my particular block. But yeah, like a lot of it is like, it's always good. You know, in my old neighborhood is weird when your stuff starts to get gentrified because white people move in and look at you weird. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, what are you doing here? You're like, I've been here for, this is my neighborhood. Why
I
are
haven't
you?
seen you because you ain't been here.
You tell this motherfucker who the fuck I am.
I'm sorry, sir. Do you have any identification
Yeah,
that you live here?
My neighbor, my mom's place over there.
It's crazy though too, because then prices go up.
Price goes up, baby.
Man,
The price is going. Yesterday's price
it's not.
is not today's price.
and it is not when things are gentrified.
It is not. No, man.
What is the cure for that?
For gentrification, reverse slavery.
This is the best thing
Well,
I could come up with.
I mean, just off the top of the head, not doing all the research.
I guess though, if we not doing I guess though, I'm like thinking there has to be a way, like maybe if there was a program, but they would never do this because this would fuck them in the end. I was gonna be like a program in which people could own the places that they live in some of these areas that need gentrification, and then if they bought into that, it might be almost like paying into like a 401k type thing, or paying on a home loan, mortgage, whatever. But when that tide turns, what you've paid, you can make back if you leave.
Almost like a co-op or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be honest.
They
this
never
is
doing
way
that shit.
above my pay grade. I live in an apartment for most of my life. Someone just explained houses. My girlfriend just explained houses. She explained it like weed shops and shit like that, and I was like, oh, you ain't even got to pay it all up front like that. I was like, was this on consignment?
You could just put in on the pad. Okay.
I was like,
Oh.
why didn't people just explain that? I was like, it's mad easy.
Yeah, no, because I mean, trying to buy a house now is like it's done, bro. For me, apartment. You see what's going on?
Yeah.
Here. I'm like, I'm supposed to come up with. I was walking in West Hollywood. Well, you know the park that's right. It's that random park right once you cross La Brea. It's that small little park next to the
weird.
That weird
Parks in
little.
LA are weird. They're just be like 2.5 blocks.
That's my point. And it's one of those, and it's right next to that like self-wash thing. I'm sure you know, right on
I
Santa
know what you're
Monica.
talking about.
And I was walking through there and like just, like I see it's overcrowded because like you said, it's too small. Kids are like just running all down. And then there's like 3 just homeless people in blankets just walking around doing the thing. And the houses on the other side of that, I'm talking to the girl I'm talking to, I'm like, how much do you think houses over here cost?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started Zillow-ing, and shit. And I'm like, so for my kids to live in a house across from a park, I wouldn't even let them go to by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the shit is across the street.
Mm-hmm.
I need $2.6 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fuck?
I mean, well, and also it's LA, man. Like my problem has been this in terms of trying to be a little bit more steady, which is that, I didn't grow up with a huge amount of proficiency in financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up knowing much about owning houses.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got any amount of money and started to understand how valuable it was to own property, the 2 places I lived in the most were New York and LA.
So good luck, nigga.
Yeah. Like LA and New York are the most expensive cities in America to own a home.
By far.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By like a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's so funny. It's like I really wish to a certain extent I had more experience in literally any of the other 48 states.
Bro.
So that I could be like, yeah, I'm always in Montana. Give me a place there. Give me 2-3 houses in Montana, Atlanta.
Jeff Bridges lives in Montana.
Do you know what I mean?
But Jeff Bridges can live
Do you
in
know what I
Montana.
mean?
And I'm like, yo, if you could pull off one of those.
It's just, you know what I mean? I've just got a place.
Pandemic made me feel that way. Like, I was like, man, if I was just really banking off of all the shit I'm doing, I'd just go on over to anywhere. Fucking Texas, anywhere down there. Over,
yeah, the only downfall of that is that you will live there.
Yeah. Well, you got to go. If you go
have
to Texas,
live in that state.
it sounds like if you go to Texas, you got to live in Austin, or you probably don't.
You got to live in something. I don't know. There's a lot of cities in America. I don't need them all.
Well, I'll tell you the places I'm not moving to Alabama.
Yeah,
that's not happening.
You know what? Any city, I'm gonna need like 30 black people to have given it a thumbs up before. I'm gonna need a green book. Even today, I need a green book. I need a green book for today's America. Someone put out a modern day green book. I'd buy the fuck out of that shit.
It would be helpful. I mean, we all know we can always go to Atlanta.
You know what I mean?
We know
Atlanta.
that though.
I've been working in Atlanta for the last couple years, and it's been great, man.
Is that where they shoot your new show?
That is where they shoot my new show. I got a show called Average Joe.
Average Joe, yeah.
This was a good transition by both of us.
Come on, man. We're pros.
Do you know what I mean? Shooting a new dark comedy for BT Plus called Average Joe. It's got Dion Cole, Cynthia K. McWilliams, who's my boo. It's got Tammy Townsend.
By the way, fun fact, Tammy Townsend was on my television show on UPN when I was a child.
Which show?
Guys Like Us. It was me, Bumper Robinson, and Chris Hardwick.
Yes.
And she played my teacher who Bumper had a crush on.
That's so funny.
And even to get even weirder, I did Jay Leno like 5-6 times.
Yes.
So I did I
I'll
was
see
with
some of
Kevin
your
Eubanks and
I'll
all that
see
stuff.
some of
yeah.
your throwback clips every once in a while, and I was like, this motherfucker been in it. I mean, you talk about a long career. Like this cat been in it since way back.
Man, I know you ain't. Come on, man. Like, it's just the evolution of it, though. Like,
You got to, man. That's why it's yeah, man. That's why it's been fun doing this new stuff. Like Average Joe's been cool because, you know, I don't do a whole lot of black shit. Like, in all honesty, like career wise, I'm real black in real life.
Are you?
But
No.
it's fine. I've got Kool-Aid points. That's not a thing.
Just so you all know, that's
This-
not a thing. Don't
That's
say
not a
that
thing.
around your
they're
black
gonna be like,
friends.
they're gonna be looking at there's Kool-Aid points.
Why didn't no one tell
What
me
is
about
this?
this?
Kool-Aid points. I would have been racking them up. No, but it's a fun show. It's a different character than I usually do. Like, you know, one of the things I try and do is I try and do something different every job. Like I get bored really easily, and so like I try and do something different. And this is like dark comedy, crime, thriller, fun, a little romance. It's cool, man.
No, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
So, do you find you enjoy comedy more than drama type work?
I work more in comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I enjoy it more? Maybe. If I do, it's by like 5%.
I feel
Like I really like I don't like to do one thing for any particular amount of time. Like I have to switch it up. Like even when I'm doing comedy, like even Better Off Ted, I loved it. And Better Off Ted was probably the first show I did that was like longer than a year. And I was like, I got to do something else. Only because the type of stuff I was trying to do with the character was so specific. You know, and he played such a restrained sort of a thing that it was very like I would feel my body getting tense.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
he's
it's
so quirky and very.
it was so this that I was just like I gotta move it up. I gotta use a different muscle group.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, so that like I can still feel alive.
No, I feel that. I mean, especially with those kinds of shows, it's tough too because I know like. After you do a show like Better Off Ted, people are always like, "Oh, well, let's get him to do this again and a million other times."
And you worked with Victor Fresco, no?
No, I didn't work with Victor. Jonathan though.
Slavin.
Yeah. I worked with him. I coached with him on one thing for one job a while back because he coached. What's her name? Carly Shaken. She's on Mr. Roll. We did Suburgatory together.
Yes.
So yes.
Wait, who was Suburgatory? That wasn't Fresco?
No, that was Emily Kapnick.
Wow, I don't know why I thought that was Fresco.
Yeah, and that was fun.
I think, but yeah, because I remember it was like you guys were doing that, and then while you were doing that, I think I had met Carly during there from doing theater.
Okay, that makes sense.
With Slavin and all of that.
Yeah, he's a cool dude, man.
Yeah, that's my boy.
So how much theater background? So did you start in theater and then go to television?
Yeah, I started. Sure. Yeah, I went. I don't know. I went
sort of.
I went to school for theater, right? I went to NYU in theater program, and I was there for acting and directing. And so my first job was probably theater. Around 18, maybe we lied on my resume and said 16 at some point. Just so I see me
makes it look
cooler.
better.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I think I was doing the McCarter Theater. So that was probably one of my earliest ones, other than doing like random theater around NYU or around New York. And then one of my first gigs was probably a commercial for Old School, which was ESPN2 back when that was a thing. And they used to show classic sports.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was a commercial, and it was like, "Are you old school?" Like that was their their tagline, like, "Are you old school?" And so I did like a little improv about like old school, like they were like, "Is Kobe Bryant's socks?" Because this is back when Kobe had a fro and high socks,
right?
And they were like, "Is Kobe old school?" I was like, "Yeah, you old school," blah blah blah.
I already can see. I know what it looks like.
Yeah, so that was like that was like my big claim to fame going to college. Like I went into college, that was like my very first commercial.
Hey, old school.
Yeah, it was like his commercial's on. Like I was like, yeah, it is on.
Are they playing it again, man?
That's crazy, man. They play it. They don't even tell me. They just put it on.
They don't even tell me. You in college working. I know that's a different feeling because everybody else is like, man,
Well, and I was going to school for acting.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So everybody else was, I'm sitting like Russell Simmons now. Everybody else was like, oh, you should, they were like, you got to quit, you know, like, quit school. Like there was, or first it was like, damn, this is like really cool. Like that he's doing that. And then it was like, I did a play called Wit, which won a Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, wow.
I think I did maybe an episode of Sopranos or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that as well. And I'm like watching The Sopranos going, this motherfucker, this and everything.
And cats were like, you know, and I went away for 6 months and I came back and they were like, why you still in school? What you doing? Like I was in an old neighborhood and they were like, why you walking around? Like, why you just walking? Like I was supposed to be rich already. Like I was supposed to have bought a mansion and never come back to the hood. And like I was like, I still live here. My mom lives here. I don't know what money you think I was going. Yeah, I was gone for 6 months. That money was for that 6 months. And then maybe 2 more weeks.
And then I gotta figure something else out.
Yeah, then I'm done. Like no one's like, we really love basketball player number 2. He's a star.
Yeah.
Give him $1 million.
It's funny. People think that's how this game works.
They think you're rich immediately. And you're not at all. And in fact, you can be working for a while and be broke. Like
for sure.
It's a crazy little ride, you know, and I've had like a very interesting career. Like it's very ebbed and flowed. And, you know, I went super broke after like working. I was like selling toner over the phone. Like I always tell this story about like, you know, I would have robbed folks, but like I couldn't afford a gun. So I was like, fine, I'll get a job.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Like this was like after Sunny in Philadelphia. Like,
right. So you have been doing shit.
Yeah, I've been doing stuff. Like Slavin will tell you the same story. Like when we did Better Off Ted, I had not long before that, I was selling tone over the phone, riding my bike to work. Wow. You know what I mean? You know, and I was working, what was it? Because it was like 9 a.m. on the East Coast. We start on the phones at 6 a.m. because of the time difference. And then I'd be done by 1 so I could have my auditions or do whatever I could after 1. Slavin will tell you, you know, Slavin's vegan. He used to work at a vegan bakery. And I think he was on a show called Boston Commons or some sort of sitcom Boston show or whatever the hell. And he'll tell you a story about how he was at work, he's doing whatever, and someone was like, were you on that Boston show? And he was like, yeah. He was like, I hated that show. And he was like, great. Would you like cream on your muffin?
Oh, God.
You know what I mean?
That's
like that shit is rough, man. You know?
It's just funny because people are like that too, though. Because I hated that show. Like, how does this information help me in this life? I know you did. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I'm selling muffins because none of you liked it,
bro. It's the what's worse are the people who go. I know you've had to get this before. The people who hit you with the, So you're an it's like the Uber driver type. So you're what, an actor? Oh, okay. Been anything I might have seen? So first, now you're putting me in this awkward position where I have to be this asshole who rattles off his resume, which no one likes anyway.
No one wants to.
No one wants to really hear that anyway. But you're asking me to do this. Second off, start naming shit. You ever heard of? Nah, never heard that. Well, have you seen? Oh, you were in the spin. Oh, no, I never saw that. So what was the fuck? Oh, and then they tell you, I don't watch much TV.
Watch TV. They're the worst. It's the worst. It always ends with I don't really watch TV. I'm like, I can tell you right now, you've never seen what I've done.
I can tell you right now.
I can tell you. And then the other half of the time is like I did commercials for a long time. Mm. And so what I realized is that people would find you familiar, but they wouldn't know why because they see you for 30 seconds every hour and a half while they were watching something they really wanted to watch. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just listening to your voice while folding laundry. And so like when they see you, they're like, hey, what do I know you from? I know you what are you in? And you name everything.
Been in something.
And then it's just like, oh, Dr. Pepper. You from Dr. Pepper.
That's my man, Dr. Pepper over there.
That's the homie Dr. Pepper.
That's
you
funny.
know. So it's a very weird,
It's a tough game. Speaking of commercials, I want to see if this works one more time because I just, bro, you don't understand.
Trying this setup is amazing.
You know what's
It looks
crazy?
amazing.
Setups are always amazing until you actually want to do something with them, right? And then all of a sudden, the things just don't want to work. Hold on, let me see. Let's just try to mirror this. You know what I think it is? I almost feel like my Wi-Fi is just like kaput. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. It's looking like the Wi-Fi's kaput.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's a great time, right?
This is the perfect time.
Perfect time. Well, that way no one has to,
Guys, look up my infamous waffle sticks
Please
commercial.
look up the Pillsbury. I'm gonna splice it in.
Yeah,
like
that's
now
perfect.
that it's just gonna
Perfect.
Yeah.
Put it. Yeah, no, it's a
too
classic commercial.
It's a classic.
Classic. I don't know why someone brought it up the other day. It was very weird. I think my first. This is what made me feel like I made it. I was doing a commercial. I was in a cast, and I had to pee, and you can't get out of the cast.
Oh, right.
Yeah, right. So like they cleared the room and had this nice white gentleman. I don't know if he was in props or if he was Teamster. I don't know what his real fucking. I know it wasn't taking my piss. I know that wasn't his job title, but that is what he did. Like he held a little bucket while I leaned over and peed, and I remember thinking to myself, "I've made it. A white man took my piss. I am a king. This is what my ancestors fought for."
This is when you went back to Brooklyn and you said, "I shouldn't just be walking on the streets
why am I walking
this."
with these fucking peasants, these regular Negroes,
No,
and
do you
their
know what happened?
needs?
And their needs.
I am someone.
You didn't know? You didn't, in the Pillsbury commercial? You didn't hear?
It's me. It's your boy. It's me.
It's your boy.
It's me.
Oh, that's funny. So when you did Sunny, no one knew it was going to be what it was at that point.
No. What happened with that show is 2003, which was the very first show I did, a show called Louis or Luis with Luis Guzman.
Okay.
And so that was my first series regular show, and that took me to LA. Like I shot the pilot, I was hanging with my buddy, and it was just like, yeah, I'm waiting. I'm just getting a lay of the land in case the show gets picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Show got picked up. So yeah, what was your question? Totally forgot. Spaced out.
You know what's the worst part? I just
You don't even
completely.
remember.
I don't know why I don't though, because I literally was like, oh, people didn't know Sunny was gonna be what it was.
This is what it was. Yes. I was
See,
like, why am I talking
I
about
live in
that?
the moment, so
That's great.
it's kind of
It's
hard
perfect.
for me to.
No, it's perfect. You are you. That's what makes you a good actor. So Charlie Day was on Louis.
Okay.
And he played the guy behind the counter or something like that. And so we were cool from doing that show. And then at the time, he literally was just like, "Hey, I'm shooting like a pilot presentation with my buddies. Why don't you come in and do a little improv thing?" And I was like, "Great." And we did a little improv at Rob's house, actually.
Okay.
And it was all about how he was surprised that the house was mine.
That's
he's like, "This
funny.
is your house. It's nice."
Hey, you got pictures of yourself up?
Yeah,
I
like
can
it was
see
very that, right? You know, the vein, the humor they'd become to be known for. And so like shortly after that, got a call like, "Hey, we're actually shooting the pilot." And so, or not the pilot, they were like, "We're shooting the show." And they were doing it in blocks. So they were doing like, 2 episodes at a time. Like they were shooting my scene, but then they were also shooting a scene with Jimmy Simpson, like right after that.
Oh, okay.
That sort of thing in a completely different episode, and Marilyn Rice Cub and all that. And so I was just like, "Oh, this is fun. Good for you guys." Like, look at that. Like you turned your little thing into
Got
this.
your little
and then-
project. Good
wow.
job.
And then this is crazy. But because they were shooting it in blocks and right on top of each other, I was like, "Oh, this isn't going anywhere. They making you shoot everything today."
Right.
Like this shit was Tyler Perry style. You know what I mean? I was
That's
like,
just what I was
like,
thinking.
I was like, this is a lot. But much like Tyler Perry, they succeeded.
And big time.
And big time.
For
huge.
years.
For years and years. Yeah. And actually my episode wasn't supposed to be the pilot. The pilot was Charlie Gets Cancer, where he fakes having cancer. But they moved it because I think it felt like The Gang Gets Racist. That's the name of the episode. I think it felt like, oh, this is like the bigger explosion. This is like, And also my character was gay. So I think it was just like, we're gay, we're racist, we're hitting it all. Now you
This
get
is
the
the
show.
tone of this. So
This
either
is-
you're in,
Yeah,
or
you're in or you're out. Let's go
Yeah.
home. And folks were in, and I moved on from there. And Caitlin Olsen I actually knew from doing a show called The Sketch Show, the Kelsey
Okay.
Grammer Sketch Show, which was an import of some British show. So I knew her not that long, if not a year or two before then, doing Kelsey Grammer Sketch Show. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, yeah.
Isn't it cool how the longer you work, things just overlap and you end up just working with or meeting?
Yeah,
Or,
so many people. You just wind up, I've been fortunate. I meet so many folks. You wind up meeting all these folks. You're like, hey. Like I remember the first time I saw you at like a casting area. Like I don't know if it was like CBS or something like that. It
Probably
might have been.
Radford.
Yeah, I think it was Radford. It might have been. What was Supergatory on?
That was on ABC.
On ABC.
This
I think
it wasn't Soul Man, was it? It was before Soul Man, I feel like.
it was before Soul
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. But I just remember seeing him. I was like, it's the motherfucker. Like in my head. But I think in real life, we were just like, hey, man, hey.
And the
how's it going?
same. Because I'm like, I'm thinking of all the shit. And I'm just like, yeah, hey, good seeing you, brother. Yeah, man.
So
And then-
going in for the, all right, cool.
Okay, you want to hear something hilarious? Going back to how you know how this game works. Motherfuckers
Yeah.
don't know what they want. I'll never forget. There's two funny stories with this. I went into an audition for some NBC show where people go back in time. And I'm sitting here. It's hilarious though, because I'm sitting here, and mind you, what year did that come out? Come out
Either 2015 or 2018.
Okay, so
Maybe it was like
2015. Bro, I'm a
2015.
clean 24. You feel me? Looking baby as fuck. Like there's no way. But in my mind, I'm still in this game. I'm like, oh, maybe they'll go young.
Yeah. You never know.
I went in there. I'll never forget. I'm going to go do my audition, but I can't pay attention or think because not only is it's a kind of large waiting room, maybe like 8 people in there, but there's one person, Mr. Robert Richard, and he's standing in the middle of the room in 1960s garb with a bowler derby hat. I could not make this up. And he's just practicing his lines in the middle of the room. And I'm just like, either he's getting this really right or really wrong. And then I saw the poster with you and a hoodie on, and I was like, yep, that nigga got it wrong.
Full on hoodie.
Full on hoodie.
I don't think that derby hat was correct.
Oh no, it was like
No disrespect.
no. It was hilarious. Not even. It was just. The fact-
But it's just,
I was like, yo,
cats will go far and away sometimes.
bro.
and you're like,
He had the vest. He had. I was like, he looked like an episode of Deadwood, and I'm like, this is a real commitment for this NBC network. I don't think they're gonna. But yeah, so
I remember that. I remember when I auditioned for that role. I was possibly up for another role, and I was thinking about what I'd go in for, and I remember thinking to myself, if someone else gets this role, I'll kill them. I'll fucking kill them. Because I was deciding, should I go in? Because they were like, you got to go in for one of these, and I was like, this other one I could get. If someone else got this other thing, I'd be like, I was like, if this one happens, I'd have to show up at that person's house, slice their throat, and take away all evidence.
because you're like, I know this is.
I was like, I gotta replace this guy. I'm like, are we doing reshoots? They're doing reshoots for time. That's crazy. Timeless reshoots.
really?
Are they? So there's more auditions. I'll throw my hat in the ring.
That's crazy.
That
Bro.
would have been me. Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't have to do that.
I'm really glad I saved an actor's life. Everyone involved.
I saved an actor's life. Now I'm just thinking, maybe it's good I didn't get that. I don't know if this would be such a cordial.
It'd be different.
It'd be
probably
very different.
It'd be different.
Yeah, no, that was funny, bro. That I will never forget that story. And then there's another one. It's not with you, but I auditioned for some shit, and I was like, oh, okay. And bro, they wrote it one way. It made sense. I went in, read for it, everything. Found out, nigga, JB Smooth got it. And I'm like, why was I called?
you either hire JB Smooth or you don't hire JB Smooth. Like, you don't audition other people and JB Smooth.
Why?
That's just a ridiculous.
Bro,
There's no.
I'm crying because I'm just like, when I heard
Oh,
that,
it
I
was
just
between
like,
Denzel and JB Smooth.
yeah. Oh, ouch.
It was almost me, but then JB Smooth. They just
He
gave
came
it
in the
to
last-
JB, yeah, the last second. JB Smooth is who they give it to after they've said, you know what, we don't need to audition more.
Facts.
We've had enough.
Yeah, we
JB Smooth said yes. We can stop.
You know who was that for a long time for actually in my lane? Tyler James Williams.
Tyler, that's the homie.
Bro, but
We were
for
never
years,
in the same lane.
he got... Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we were never in
We
the
were
same
never in the same lane.
Bruh.
Y'all must have been in the same.
For years.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm talking
yeah.
about for years. Like when I was really just playing the like, let's get on a
Yeah.
network show. Nigga, every time it'd be like, oh, we're gonna test you.
Yep.
Sign this contract that says you'll be making $50,000 a week. And then, so did anybody from the test get it? No, they just put out an offer to Tyler James.
Yeah, they just gave it to Tyler James Williams.
But his quote was way higher than. No. So what they're doing is they didn't do a series contract with him. They did a per episode, bro. That's happened so many times. And then guess what? Half the shows don't go anywhere. But he got that bag.
You get that money, bro.
I'm not mad at him.
He's gonna be good. He's like a Saudi prince.
But now he's hit a whole.
I mean, look. Yeah, everybody hates Chris. That was already you're set. Like, you know, people think you're rich off of like an episode or two of working. But it's just like the real series, man. When you're on a network series, I mean, when you're on a network series for years, that's like, especially a sitcom. Sitcoms are so much, and that was different because that was single camera.
Yeah.
But a multicam sitcom is the plushest gig you can get in all of television, is because you barely do anything on a Monday or Tuesday. Like you read and then like, we did enough of this. And on Tuesday they give you completely new lines. They get bored. They're like, how about instead of onion, it's a parakeet. And then they're like, all right, if you want, man. And then you go
then
home.
then the studio comes in and sees it and they go, this parakeet joke's stupid.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
how about an onion?
Yeah. He's like, all right, genius. All right, we'll attribute him, say we changed it.
It's literally.
And then you like shoot on Friday. Like you maybe shoot some technical stuff on Thursday, and you shoot on Friday, and then you make a lot of money.
A lot.
And especially if it's successful or on CBS,
bro.
they don't care. They're like, we want this for 58 years. Old people love this.
Well, they try to keep shows until they know at least that whole crowd's dying or not watching television.
Yeah.
Then we'll
They've
go and find
all
another
got glaucoma, and then now we should switch it up.
Bro, they paid Charlie Sheen $2 million an episode for just like him being himself and just
That guy
jokes.
has to be the richest crackhead since Lamar Odom. I don't know.
They
I don't need
lived
that
near
smoke.
each other too, which is kind of they
that's-
did at one point. Yeah.
I would imagine it's
That's-
easier if you can carpool.
If you can carpool, like, listen, you hear yourself. You're thinking like a poor man.
I am.
I have to drive to go get my
they both
crack.
take the-
Come on, man. We got guys pulling up.
What are you doing? It's true. You're right. I don't know
come
what
on.
I'm doing. Why am I traveling
Why
for
are
my
you
crack
traveling for your
cocaine?
crack? Who are you?
Idiot.
Franklin Saint pulling right up to
Do
you.
you know what I mean? How's it going?
But I feel like once you get in that bracket too, they're much nicer.
Probably.
Yeah, there's hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? Oh, look at
Hey.
Pookie playing with the dog
Yeah,
and
you some
shit.
crack.
Okay,
I know
gotcha.
You like it.
Oh, I got something special for you. That black tar.
Oh, Sky.
He knows
Sky.
me.
Sky.
So
I try to almost risk my career or celebrity friendships every podcast. Because what's the point of doing a podcast if you can't just risk your career or ruin a friendship?
they'll never see it. And if
Or
they
they'll
do,
never hear.
Or you know what's the best part? Once they see it, God damn it, you did it.
You made it.
You
made it.
really made it.
You fucking made
When
it.
motherfuckers are trying to
You made
put
it.
you under by
Honestly,
something you said.
if Charlie Sheen and Lamar Odom both have a vendetta after me, then this was one of your hugest episodes
Oh, by far. By far.
ever, and it will have been worth it.
And for both of us. For both of us.
Well, make a point.
Maybe I won't get any Laker. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that doesn't matter
you'll be
anymore.
all right.
I think I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, where in just where you are in life now, what are the things, because you've done so much, what are the things you want to do, career wise or just life wise?
Life wise, life is cool. I've been traveling more, and I dig traveling, and I want to keep making room to travel. I used to be a person who never traveled and was always so desperate to maintain a work life that I never relaxed.
Yeah.
And so it took me a very long time because I grew up broke and hustling and I mean that like Jay-Z style. I mean just like working hard as a person.
The hustle.
Yeah. I don't mean it like I was on the corner selling crack cocaine. I read books.
Cracking your palms? Watching the long arm of the law? I know you heard it all before.
I sold weed for 2 weeks and I smoked it all. I was like, I've had enough. This is a lot.
Smoky.
Yeah. I was like, I'm good. So I like the vacation and I want to keep maintaining that. I want to maintain that energy. I feel like it's slipping a little bit. And work wise, I just want to, I used to create goals and then I stopped creating new goals. I used to just be like, oh, I want to do things better than I used to do it. Like I used to, form charities and teach and when I was upcoming and acting and writing, I would always, after I accomplished certain dreams, like being on TV or doing a movie or being in a play or traveling for a play, I started going like, and then after I settled and I didn't accomplish the goal of like being the youngest Oscar winner ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? You start adjusting your stuff. And so my goal started just be a little bit, I wanted to do everything bigger and better. So if I was in a play, I want to be in a hit play. If I'm in a short movie, I want to be in a long movie. I want to be just bigger and better. But I stopped being specific. And so I realized I got to start being more specific about my goals. Because then when you're not specific, then you allow yourself to waver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I realized I want to write and create my own show. And so for the last couple of years, I've just been pitching. Like the other goal is I was like, I want to get paid for writing. I was like, I want to create my show and I want to create and I want to get paid for writing. So, and that was heavily during the pandemic. Like pandemic, I was like, I want to do, and that was an excellent opportunity because I think I allowed my acting success to allow me to relax in all these other things that I normally had interests in, or I really had interest in when I was younger. And so pandemic allowed me to do all these things. It allowed me to start writing these plays and these movies and pitch these TV ideas or create these pitches for TV ideas that I usually would allow to sort of lean by the wayside.
Right.
Started podcasts, started writing, as the pandemic started relaxing, started writing stand-up comedy, started doing stand-up. And
so you recently started stand-up?
I'd say I started stand-up about a year ago.
Because I was gonna say, because of your comedic timing, I'm shocked you didn't already do it. I thought that was one of the questions I was just gonna ask you. Like, do you do stand up?
I did stand up. So this is what happened. I did stand up probably a handful of times in around 2002.
Okay.
And did some sketch comedy with some local New York folks of mine, friends of mine. And then it all stopped once I went to LA because I didn't have a car and or the connections, and I was there to act, so I didn't need stand up and blah blah blah. But I always thought that was going to be a big part of things. Cut to 20 years later, post pandemic, trying to figure out what's the next way for me to express my voice. And I got these buddies. We call each other the worst crew ever. It's me, Leonard Robinson, Craig Robinson, Eric Griffin.
Oh, fire.
All actual stand-up comedians and actors.
Yeah.
And Eric was hosting at the Lab and was inviting me to perform. And it took me maybe 2 months to write something, and I was like, boom, I'll do it. And the first time in 20 years I performed, and I think one of my closing bits, one of it was about Chris Pratt voicing things. But the closing bit was, I wanted to take a joke that I did 20 years ago and tell it that same day for the audience and see if it'd have the same effect.
Right.
And the joke was, so R. Kelly is in the paper for diddling children.
A lot of laughter. I know. Still applies. Still, I guess applies.
How's this joke work? That was like my big. I was like, oh, I'm really excited to do that.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so I've just been doing a lot more stand up.
Right.
Like, if I'm in a new, and I'm trying to get adept because I know my buddy Eric is when he's giving me the opportunity, he's really trying to test me. Like I remember I was doing a gig and I when I did that first gig, I fucking killed. And Eric was like, "Are you a stand-up or are you doing a one-man show?" And I was like,
That's funny.
"Thank you for the support." But I remember, so I come back to do like a 10-minute gig, and I do the gig. When I first came back, I was like, "Fucking killed." I come back, I do another show, and I'm like, and the audience I could tell is mediocre, but I'm like, I got my 10 minutes, I'll be all right. And I do it, and it's dry. It's real arid, extra dry, and I do my time, and then I'm like, all right, Eric, anytime you wanna, get this going, and he's like, and he makes a whole big show of it. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm done. He's like, you only did 5 minutes. I was like, I did 10 minutes. He's like, you only did 5. He's like, guys, he's speaking to the audience. Guys, Malcolm's new to this. He doesn't know anything about stand-up comedy. Malcolm, you got to do more time. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm like, I'm going to my I'm going to notes. I'm thinking of jokes I have half written, trying to execute or move around, do a little thing, and I finish off. So afterwards, and I know what Eric's trying to do. He's trying to get me going. So afterwards, I'm in there and I'm like, I thought I did 10 minutes. He was like, nah, man, you only did 5. I was like, well, I recorded it. I'm pretty sure I did 10 minutes, but I'll check later. And one of the other comics is like, or, you could check now. And I was like, all right. And I check. And my original set was 9 minutes and 40 seconds.
Wow. So he just was keeping.
So he was like, do 5 more minutes. So I wound up doing 15 minutes that night. And I've since done like 20 minutes, and I've since done, however many on it. And, every time I'm shooting somewhere, fortunately, over the last year, I've been in different places. And so I've, performed in Jersey and performed in Toronto and in LA. And so, that's been my thing is like, I think actually since not this birthday, but my birthday last year, I was just like, I was with a buddy of mine, and I was just like, I saw a poster for some stand-up, and I was like, I think I'm going to just do it. And just did 5 minutes there. And I've just been doing different types of stand-up, like improv stand-up, surrounded, where an audience work and crowd work.
Oh, okay.
And just different ways to just sort of get the muscles, to train the muscles in terms of being an actual stand-up comedy.
Damn, is that like a class thing, or do people really do just shows where they're surrounded?
Well, there's different shows. My buddy Mike Falzone is a stand-up comic. He's touring right now, but he does a surrounded show. So he'll invite, himself included, he'll have about 5 people, and they'll just do a stand-up comedy show in a round, no prepared material, just audience work, just crowd work.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's dope.
Yeah, and I've done shows with my friend Nazanin where, real local and small, well, they just give you a word. Do you know what I mean? And you got to go. So I love doing that because it was just like, okay, this is going to make me better and prepare me for not performing for 30 of my friends, but for random cities, random towns. Because you realize, what my buddy Eric was trying to say when he was like, are you stand-up or are you doing a one-man show? Which is that the shows are going to be different. And you can't go in there thinking, I got my stuff that kills. Yeah. I got this.
This shit ain't TV.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You really have to adjust. You can come and do some shit. So I've gone in there with nothing planned, or I've gone in there where I know I had 10 minutes, but I was like, let me just figure some shit out, talk to the audience for a little bit, figure out, you know what I mean? See if I can get some laughs from there. I had a show. My mom came to town. And, my mom's a huge supporter of all my stuff since I was a little kid. Like I said, as long as it's funny. And so, she's sitting in the audience, and I just riff with her for about 8 minutes, just me and my mom talking in front of the audience. You know what I mean? I was like, my mom's here, so I'll try not to do anything too taboo. So I'm fucking my girl, and you know what I mean, and it's just
Yeah.
silly, fun sort of stuff like that. And but that's what it is. It's like, you know, I think people think comedy is a lot easier, or that once you're successful, you'll easily knock it out. And I remember my manager at one point in my career was like, "We got to get you doing stand up. We got to get you doing, you know, blah blah blah." And I was like, it's not. I was like, this is like telling a chef to farm.
Yeah.
I'm not going to suddenly immediately be amazing at this. I was like, you telling me to try this career is a harder career than a career I'm already succeeding and trying and know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get it, you know, and eventually, look, I'm doing it, right? So eventually I get it, but I'm like, if that's what you're placing your money on, like, just be a better manager.
Well, you know what's funny now? Now that manager wouldn't tell you to do stand up. They would just be like, "Hey, make some TikToks."
Well, you know what's funny? Well, I mean, I still have the same manager, and it's hilarious because I'm doing stand up now. He's like, "All right."
He's like, "Oh, thanks. Great timing."
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Let's make actual money. Yeah.
He's like, "TV's better."
Yeah. How about you pick up a hobby in the midst of a pandemic? Crowd-based hobby.
That's
Location.
so funny. It's the pandemic and just watching. I'm a huge stand-up fan. So first off, if you're ever doing anything local, you gotta let me know.
For sure.
But it's one of the things, and I always say, like, I want to try it. I've just like, what gave you the confidence to just go do it? Because I know with myself, like, it's not even a lack of confidence really, but it's just like, okay, I got to sit myself down. Because it just kind of what you're saying. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm not prepared for things in general. Like if I'm doing something, I'm taking it seriously. You know, like I'm not just, oh, fuck it, let me just try this. Like, no. So I think it's the planning of writing the jokes, but then also just the confidence of like, I'm about to go up here and say this shit and let's see how people take it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, do you do theater at all? Do you do?
I did a lot of, I did more theater when I was younger. I did The Lion King. I played young Simba. And then, Cadillac Palace
Flex.
in Chicago. Yeah. And then I did A Raisin in the Sun.
Yes.
What was it? The Goodman. The old Goodman in Chicago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So same confidence, only they'll tell you immediately if they think you suck.
Very quickly.
It's really, I mean, I don't know. I've done a lot of things. I think I don't mind doing things for the first time. I think that's probably saying it for the first time out loud the key to my career.
Right.
I don't mind trying to do something new. The fear doesn't scare me.
Hey, that's
do you know
good.
what I mean? Like I used to do spoken word. I used to do poetry and slam poetry all the time, and New York Poetry Cafe. And I remember to this day the very first time I got on stage and did a poem.
Okay.
I was probably somewhere around 19 years old. And I remember getting up on stage. I remember thinking I was dope, pretty much. Just in my head, knowing I know how to perform. I know these words are good. I think what I wrote was good. And I remember getting on stage, and while performing, I think I remember the poem, but what I remember most of all was feeling my legs shake. And I feel like I even might have looked down and could see them shake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but one thing I knew for sure was that I had to finish. I had to finish and keep going. You know what I mean? And I wound up being on the New York poetry team, wound up winning a lot of slams in New York. That wound up being my life for a very long time. But it started with shaky legs on a stage, And so that's what allows me to then switch to stand-up. Like, I went to stand-up and I thought I'd be funny, and it worked. And honestly, the first time was not as scary as probably the time after bombing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because that's trauma.
Yeah.
Technical, not. But
yeah,
in a
no,
sense.
for sure. But like going up there and going, shit, I think I'm about to try and do the same thing that got a bad reaction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which as I've gotten older, I sometimes do, sometimes don't, right? Like you make adjustments, or you try and find out if the same material works for different audiences. Like there's a lot more sort of planning or study that goes into being a stand-up comedian, or into being the type of stand-up comedian I'd like to be, than I think people expect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a versatility and an understanding and a planning and a freedom and a quickness and a pace and a steadiness and a work ethic
Yeah.
that is unparalleled to a lot of other jobs.
No, I completely agree. I've never met a stand-up who made the shit look easy. If you know what they're doing. You know what I mean? If you see the work they're putting in, you're like, oh, this shit isn't easy. Like it's a grind. Like,
I used to follow, there's a period where I was like super sober.
Okay.
And I would follow my comedian buddies because it was the easiest way to just get late night entertainment. You know what I mean? And not like get super fucked up. Right. And I'd follow like a buddy of mine like Eric or a buddy of mine like Mike Black. And I'd go like, oh, y'all hustle. Like you'll do a show at 11:30, at 12:30, at 1:30, at 3:30 in 4 or 5 different spots. And I'm just like, that is your night. My boy Eric will do that and do all new material for all those spots. Do you know what I mean? With a little bit of crossover.
Right.
You know what I mean? With a little, and you sit there and go like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Because
they're testing those waters.
They testing the waters because one might think you might go, okay, I'm gonna spend one night doing all the same material, but at 4 different spots would be insane. Would be a lot. Be like, wow, okay, I bet you learned a lot of it. But then to go, I'm gonna just do completely new shit at every spot for a night. You know what I mean? Because then how big is that book after a week, after 2, after a month? You know what I mean? And that's how you become great and not just good and not just working. You know what I mean? Or not just appearing. Because, you also don't get paid anything when you're starting, which is what I learned because they all made fun of me because I would go there and Eric was like, come do the show. And I was like, so do I get a piece of the door? And he was like, are you fucking kidding me?
You're like, but I mean, what am I doing here?
I was like, how does this work?
How does that work for general, like when people just go do stuff like the Laugh Factory or the store?
I don't know that because I haven't performed at that level. Yeah. Right? I've done the Lab and a couple other places. But I'll tell you this, when I did Eric's show, they gave me a W-2 and a $10 for I was like, he was like, for taxes. And I thought he was joking. And he handed me real paper. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's hilarious.
And then I did, not the Comedy Store, maybe the place I should know the name of. But I did
the Improv?
Maybe. I can't fucking remember. I got a piece of paper, email. But
a piece of paper.
But I remember I did a contest and I won $100 because I won. And I was like, I got paid more in this contest than actually performing with and for my friends doing stand-up. I was like, I guess I just gotta compete.
I guess I just love it.
I guess so.
And you gotta just keep doing it, man.
Yeah, I really thought I was gonna get super paid early, and apparently I gotta work towards.
Really,
more
you
money.
Thought that after what you've done all these years?
I was like.
Just like I did my grind.
You
don't know me?
Set. I'll put out an album.
Write the book.
Gold.
Gold.
This is it.
Oh man, Duke. Who had the last poppin' comedy album?
Last amazing comedy album. I've been watching more specials than I've been listening to albums.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering. I'm like, what was the last one that was like everybody was like, whoa, this was Chris Rock's stand-up was good, the one on Netflix.
That one was pretty good. I thought Charlene's Boy was pretty good.
Which one was that?
Which was Dion's.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was good.
I like Tom Segura.
Oh, you know what? I always see his name, and I haven't given him like a full chance. Like I just haven't watched the stand-up yet.
I like him. What's funny about Tom Segura is I was with my lady in Kansas City with her parents, and they love stand-up. So we're all watching stand-up, and I'm like, let's watch Tom Segura. And they like a little off-color stuff. And he proceeds to do a bit about how much your mom is a slut. And how your dad is a hideous, horny monster who's fucking the shit out of your mom. And he's like, I know this is probably weird for you, and that's why I'm doing it. and it's me, my girl, and her parents, and I am fucking laughing I'm trying to hold it in, but I'm clearly just I'm
That's
embarrassed,
hilarious.
but I find it fucking hilarious.
It's just funny because they're like, "Did you know this joke was in?"
Well, they don't know, but you could tell they're like slightly like, they don't want to laugh. It's not that they don't find it funny. You know that they don't want to laugh too much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And a girl is here and she's mortified. And it's, again, humor she would normally find funny.
But it hits too close to home.
But it's happening right now while everyone's cuddling. And it's amazing. And I'm just going off. And every once in a while, you hear the dad just, and that's the thing. You can't, neither one of them can't nobody laugh too much. I'm probably the only one that can really comfortably laugh.
That's funny.
In that moment,
That's where the best humor comes from, though. Like uncomfortable. Just shitty things that happen.
Horrible.
But finding that good.
I love it. Yeah.
That's funny.
He's a funny guy.
The comedy thing you did, the Hulu show. What was that called?
Which one?
The recent one. It seems like it was a sketch. I want to watch it.
History of the World Part 2.
History of the World.
Yes.
So is that kind of in the vein of I had done an episode of that Drunk History. Kind of
almost. I think it'll definitely give you a lot of that flavor. It's so before Drunk History and before this show, there's Mel Brooks' History of the World. Right.
By the way, that's crazy though that like you're working with Mel Brooks. That's fucking
it's
awesome.
let me,
That's wild.
Let me tell you something. Right? Yes and no. Right. So I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan. Like I grew up being a Brooklyn dude who's a fan of Mel Brooks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm watching Blazing Saddles and High Anxiety and all of that shit. Right. Yeah. So I got to History of the World came out in, I want to say, late 70s. I should do research, but I don't care. It came out, and it's basically it's a parody movie. It's about it's like different times in American in history, and just making fun of it.
Gotcha.
And like the Spanish Inquisition, or about Romans or Jews or kings and in Egypt. I mean, not just Jews. Well, Jews in general, because it's Mel Brooks. Yeah. But so we basically, instead of making a movie out of it, and instead of making a sequel out of it, we made it came out in 89. Anyway, who cares? Instead of making a movie out of it, they made a TV show out of it.
Gotcha.
So the TV show is sketches. It's sketches from all time periods, whatever is funny, whatever is relevant. Some of it harkens to movies. Mine is basically, it's World War II, right? But it's kind of a parody of Saving Private Ryan. Do you know what I mean? The throw up scene in the very beginning, the battle scene, and Saving Private Ryan. And then at another point, I'm Idi Amin doing like a great dictator cook-off or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah. So the show is a sketch comedy show. You know what I mean? Cool. But it's cool because it's got Ike Barinholtz and Nick Kroll and Wanda Sykes as producers. Mel Brooks was a producer, would approve everything.
That's so good.
Yeah, when we had the premiere, he gave a speech, and it was a surprise because we didn't know he was going to come out, and he doesn't really come out as much because he can't afford to get sick.
After 2020, that probably changed all.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So he came out and hosted, and he's funny as fuck, man. Like to this day, like he came out and he was like, I don't come out often, so I was going to come out here, and then I was watching the news, and I thought I'd share with you something from the news. Tonight, there's going to be highs of 87 and high of 88, and it'll be cloudy.
I know people die.
It was like you thought it was gonna be like super political,
yeah.
And it was just like there might be some sun. And I was like, that's the fucking genius of it, because you think it's gonna be like, oh yeah, let's push some buttons, or like, how is 80, probably 90 something? How is he gonna like relate and be this? And it's just like he fucking like he always does, takes a fucking left turn.
Left turn,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? And it's fucking genius. And so I got to be a part of that. I got to, I got to say I'm a part. Here's why I'm also very fortunate as an actor is that I get to appear in things, leave, and act like I'm truly a part of it. Like History of the World Part 2 is like that. The Boys is like that. I've done a couple of, I got The Boys because it's Kripke who created Timeless. And so I'll come in as much as I'm available, as much as they need me per year, which is usually winds up to like 1 to 3 episodes.
Fire.
And, and then I get to do something else where they go, Malcolm from The Boys. I'm like, I guess I am. I guess so. I'm there. I
You
guess.
know what, though? That's a testament to, though, and fortunately, I feel like I've had the same, but like it's a testament to like you're apparently I wouldn't know, but no, you're apparently a pleasure to work with, though, man. Like people don't do that shit if they just don't enjoy working with you, or even if whether they enjoy working with you or not, you're giving them what the fuck they need, and that's even so. You know what I mean? But also, I can only imagine that you're easy to work with. So, I think that's a true testament too, because like you see, come on, man, I can only imagine the amount of people you've seen drop out. And maybe not all by their choosing.
Yeah, I do think it's important to have allies in this business.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's important to make a good impression, or I can tell you that's what works for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that can just be assholes. That can be lone assholes. They made it when they first got it, and they can do that. For me, it's been about, look, I enjoy what I do. Like nine times out of 10 on a day in the set, if we can get everybody, if everyone could understand, if all the actors could understand that there's nobody on set doing what they want to do more than them, then everybody would have a really great day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Because some of these folks want to be gaffers and some of them don't. You know what I mean? Some people want to be teamsters, some people don't. You know what I mean?
But ain't no actor there who's
ain't
like,
nobody
I
who's
don't
like, I
wanna be
fucking
doing
hate acting.
No.
I wanted to be at a factory. But, do you know what I mean?
The assembly line was way better than this shit.
This is bullshit.
What they got it crafty?
Yeah, I could have been fucking giving people fries. I've yet to run into one. So for me, it's about understanding that I enjoy my job. And if I understand that, then everybody can have fun. And this whole thing can be fucking fun, man.
Yeah.
This whole thing, like, some of it is very hard in terms of hours and being away from your family and trying to get shit right and worrying if you're going to get canceled while you're trying to pay bills and all of that. That shit's life, and it's the career, and that part's hard. But getting to do what you want to do isn't hard, and that part is fun. And so I try and do that. And also, I'm a huge believer that at some point I'm going to get in a drunken wreck and I'm going to need some of my famous friends to give me a job.
You're like, hey.
It's going to be my fault. And
I'm
going to need public opinion and friends.
Well, friends. Hopefully some of them were on Friends.
Do you know what I mean?
Just, don't... I mean, Matthew Broderick has done okay.
You know what I mean? Anybody. If I can get any Matthew to help me out. Broderick, Perry, anybody.
No, you don't know the Matthew Broderick story?
Didn't he hit somebody? Did he kill somebody?
Yeah, in Ireland.
There's a lot of folks that kill people.
He's not special.
Yeah, he's not huge about him.
It doesn't make him special.
Yeah.
Him being Simba. Now that was
special. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. The producers, speaking of Mel Brooks.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I love the episode of Curb where they're doing the producers.
Oh, I haven't seen it in so long. I don't remember.
Man.
I bet it's good, though.
It's a classic episode.
Right, because they're trying to sing or something like that?
Yeah, well, and also it's just you're getting Larry David to do the producers, and then this guy, he's difficult. Everything's do we really got a whole lot of that? Like I think in that episode, one of them they're getting ready, they're doing the table reads or something because it's kind of like they run the season like
they're putting it on.
Yeah, they're putting it on in New York, and so Larry's like, all right, I'll do it. And he's doing it with I think it's Ben Stiller.
Yes,
and then that's the whole when Ben Stiller's like. Someone gets out of the passenger seat, and then Ben Stiller's like, all right, Larry, we're going to go to just get in the front seat. Larry's like, well, why'd I got to get in the front seat? She got out. I'm comfortable. I'm not gonna drive you around, Larry, like I'm just like your driver or something. He's like, It takes more time if you just start. And of course, that starts a thing. I love that show because that is so life. That's life, man. Like people make big deals out of very minute things.
I auditioned for the new version of it. I swore I was gonna get it. I didn't get it. I couldn't believe it.
Of the producers?
No, of Kirby Enthusiasm.
Oh,
I remember it. I was like, I fucking got this, and I didn't.
They went with JB Smooth.
As they should have.
As they should have.
As they fucking should have.
Oh man, it's amazing that he crushes it on that show though. Like, great.
He's great, man.
Yeah, great.
We've met on occasion a couple times, and I'm in awe of him, man. I'm just like, I just see how far he can go and do all of that, like, and how long he's been at it there. Because I believe he started on Saturday Night Live at one point as a writer.
Oh wow!
At one point, do you know what I mean?
Damn.
And I'm pretty sure it's like he was one of those that like couldn't get his shit really properly off.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of brothers that can't get their shit properly off of a Saturday Night Live. You know what I mean? And women, and
it's tough. I think too with a show like that, especially in today's time. I feel like the show, like our government. I think the show needs a restructuring. Because I think it's still doable to do a show like that. It doesn't feel like it hits the same as like it feels run down.
I think sketch comedy is very, very hard.
Yeah.
I think sketch comedy is hard. Saturday Night Live, it's like, I don't know how many notes I can have for a show that already exists for 30-something odd years.
That's
like,
my point. It needs like a refresher or something.
Well,
but
what are you gonna do? They feel fine, and then do you know what I mean?
Whoever's cashing these checks, they're doing
they'll be
okay.
all right. But I do like especially as it's growing, I do like a Black Lady sketch show or even what is it? Fuck, I can't get his name right, but Thank You for Asking, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
Sketch is hard, man. I can't imagine doing an hour and a half sketch.
And you can't, and also on network television, that makes it twice as hard.
It's all hard. I mean, it's like Key and Peele, Chappelle Show, all the great shows. It's hard to say like all of them had like great show every half hour, every fucking week. Every sketch was great. Like that's always the most interesting part where you watch a sketch and like, oh wow, okay, so that was bad.
but I know another one's coming right up.
Another one's coming right back
Right.
up. So I don't know, man. Sketch comedy is just a very hard thing, and I don't really know. I love doing it. I've had a lot of fun. I don't, I haven't done it really a whole lot in terms of on television and stuff like that, or made it a career because it doesn't pay any money.
Yeah, I was gonna say unless it's your show, and even if it is your show, apparently it still doesn't pay.
You gotta get your own thing. Like you get paid much more being a character than being a sketch person, and it can pay off. Like if you leave SNL and you become a big movie star, you're like your ticket is written. You know what I mean? Or stamped or whatever the fucking metaphor is. Cliche. But like until then, like it's just like equal money or something. I think Saturday Night Live, I think everyone gets paid the same. And that sounds horrible.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's what was it called when everyone
Favored Nations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Favored Nations.
Wow.
Or tiered Favored Nations or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, so once I got to a certain part of my career, there's
not
no
the
way.
performers.
Yeah.
They get paid.
So like once I got to a certain point in my career, it just never made sense to do sketch comedy or do anything that's Favored Nations. Like I'm just like, no, I want to get paid more than someone
who hasn't really been doing this for years.
Yeah, that would be my thing.
Yeah, that's a better way to do it. It's crazy. We were Favored Nations on The Wire.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Does it make sense,
bro? Listen, when I tell you that was one of those like, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah,
but obviously one of the greatest career things. But you know how they hit you with the opportunity word. They love listen.
It's gonna be huge.
We don't have any money, but the opportunity, and people will see you, and then it'll turn into.
Well, that's also wild because they never gave it its proper respect. I mean, I'm sure the story. I mean, it's the same for like freaking Snowfall. You know what I mean?
Man.
Like you're like, wow, we have ended it, and it still hasn't popped the entertainment award zeitgeist at all.
And the shows you'll see sometimes that get it, and you're like, huh?
Yeah. You're like, how is this a cable drama that isn't regularly nominated for for
Yeah, that makes no
cinematography,
sense. Makes no
for acting, for writing, for directing. Like 100% Snowfall.
Well, you know
should be
why?
there.
There's only one white guy, Teddy. If Snowfall
Obviously.
was an imagine
Obviously.
Oscar for best performance,
Oh, you know it'll
and
do-
it just
it's
or not
just
Oscar,
Teddy.
Emmy, it just goes to Teddy.
Just an Emmy for Teddy.
Emmy for Teddy.
Isn't that what happened? Didn't what was it? Was it Creed? Where it's like Sylvester Stallone was the only one nominated for an Oscar or something like that?
That's
Was it?
wild.
I don't know. I don't want to spread shit. I don't remember.
No, but it happens.
I
Man.
think it was
happens.
pretty sure. It was like really?
I know. I think even on The Wire, it was nominated one year, but it was only like Alexa Fogel for casting. It is like a word. Okay. I guess she did do a bang up job.
great job.
But man, can't none of these
But do you
niggas
think-
get the love.
Shouldn't one of the acting thing then follow?
Nah.
No?
You remember those years? Entourage.
Whoa.
Yeah, like Entourage was one of those years. I remember I went to the it's funny because I would go to like the HBO parties and stuff, and then we went to the Emmy party out here. And I remember just talking to like characters from True Blood and Entourage. You know, I know y'all getting paid. I know and they're all sitting there. Our show shit. I would much rather be on it. I'm like, no, you don't, motherfucker.
No, you want this
But no,
paper.
you want this. They got a drink named after y'all at the fucking bar right now. Whole shit is True Blood themed. You don't want this shit. But you know, it's like everything else that we're talking about. Like it's once you do certain things though, you want to, and that's I feel you completely on that because I'm that same way. A lot of times it might even make sense to stay a path because it's like this shit is working. But it's like you get like, all right, I knocked that out. Let's, you know.
I remember, I think I was supposed to audition for somebody named Black something on Entourage. And I think I was like, I'm good.
I read for the Bow Wow role.
The Bow
You know that
Obviously.
that happened. But then I was still in high school at the time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he was 22 in Bow Wow.
Yeah.
So
Both of those things probably helped
I think
him
it was
out.
the age.
Yeah, it was probably the
But-
age thing probably edged him out.
Yeah.
But I just remember I was just like I want to do this shit. That was an interesting period because it was just like I feel like Black actors, you have to go through this thing all the time where you're dealing with ethical and moral stuff or identity and Blackness, and you're like, I would just like to play a part. Like, I just remember, like, at the time, I probably was debating whether or not I should go in for Black so-and-so on Entourage, a mostly white show. And then I'm up here, it's a very white show. And then I'm also debating, which I wound up doing, The Sopranos, because I was just like, do I want to play a crack
Because they got
dealer?
you cracked, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, you know, it was interesting because I'm like debating, you know, and like, you know, the woman that plays my sister, she's in like crack makeup. You know what I mean?
I remember, yeah.
And I'm like feeling like I lucked out because I got to be cracked up. You know what I mean? She's like, "Do I look alike?" I'm like, "You look fine." You know what I mean? What are you doing? We're
Hey, girl, you working.
You know what I mean? Also, it's like this is what we're playing, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's too late to feel any other way.
We
but
here.
100% this.
You
That's
already
it.
went through makeup. You know
Yeah,
what it
you
is.
in makeup. I don't think we're gonna get any more tips about this. Like, I'm dealing crack right now. That's who I
Right
am.
now.
That's who I am. I'm a crack dealer. Don't make me feel any bad about it right now.
What was
right
the
now,
character name?
crack dealer. I don't know.
Crack
I'm sure it was like Tyrone or Tyrell or Ron. You know what I mean?
I've played both Tyrone and Tyrell.
I'm sure it was some version of that. You know what I mean? It wasn't inaccurate. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I finally was just like, I was like, well, look, all these Italians are playing mobsters. Like, well, who am I?
Very good point. I think we're all stereotyping around here.
I think we're doing all right if we really knock it out the park.
That's
You guys are
funny.
getting Emmys. I think I'll be okay.
Oh, that's
You know, like you can only put so many crack dealers on your resume if they're not like elite crack dealer.
Oh yeah, it gotta
You
be
know
like,
what I
oh,
mean?
you had a scene with Denzel
Yeah,
selling crack.
like it's gotta be,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It gotta be The Wire. Like I remember I did a play and I played a crack dealer, but he was gay and had a heart of gold. So I was like,
What?
I was like, he's really doing something.
How'd he get in this game?
Yeah.
This don't even make sense.
It was hidden. You know what
Crack
I mean? It was a
dealer,
long
heart of
road.
gold,
It was a long road.
Second you start cooking, that heart of gold goes out. Second you got the Pyrex, it's like, stop it, man. You're trying to destroy a community.
For my
here.
people.
It's for my people. Not outside this door, but
Not
inside
here,
this
but here.
house.
No. Not your people. I mean,
your-
that kind of. I did that so you wouldn't have to.
Oh, that's funny. 3 to 5 books that changed your life.
Oh, fuck. Okay, this might work because it would be when I used to still read. Let me see here. There's recently I read something, The Abomination, by, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name, but he wrote Star Wars. I've worked with him about once or twice, but it's a really good book. It's fun. It's fantasy. It's a lot of fun.
The Abomination?
Yeah. It's just about a sort of other world, and I think I just hadn't seen someone create that world so fully and so well and create characters like that in a long time, and so that meant a lot.
Robert Swindells.
Is it?
The Abomination, the Carnivia
Maybe.
trilogy? Or
No, it's about a whole other. Gosh dang it! I'll figure it out.
The
I'll figure it out.
Abominations of Yondo? There's a lot of abominations.
There's a lot of abomination pieces, right? You know what? I'll figure it out.
Paul Goulding, The Abomination?
No, I'll know. You know how I know how this is such a weird way for me to figure it out. I did a show called Nerd Court. It's by Bob Witta.
Bob Witta.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did a show called Nerd Court, and he was behind it in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Then there's maybe you heard of it. The autobiography of Malcolm X.
Oh. Wait, was that the guy who? No, I'm kidding. Yes.
that was a big one for me because for me it was. I read it when I was in high school, where I felt very other in a school. I went to math and science high school, mostly white, Asian, definitely related to the Asian folks more than white folks.
Yeah.
But at a certain time, I felt like I think it's chapter 15, Mascot, where he talked about, you know, how he was popular in school, but how he felt like because he was in this predominantly white school to that particular point of his life, or the white people that were around him at that particular point of his life felt like they would be with him through thin but not thick. And that's how I felt at my school, I realized. I realized that I, in a lot of ways, felt like other, felt like a mascot, felt like I would be there for one point, but not if things got to a real point. And so that was a really big deal. But just the story in general just sort of really shaped my life, my perspective, my point of view in a lot of ways. I mean, I think my senior quote for high school is "Ignorance has mistaken me for one of the other 8 black guys." Like,
Ooh.
yeah. Like I was like, and college year was like my freshman year was interesting because I don't think I talked to white people in class, just because if you're treated a certain way in an academic setting and people let you down in a certain way, at some point you start to go, fuck it, I don't really need this. Like, I don't need to befriend you just to, at some point, you make some joke that makes me just feel not comfortable, or you say some sort of word or do something that makes me go, oh, you never really saw me. And I don't think I need that.
No, facts.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, things changed. And, you know, after being with a certain people for a certain amount of time, you know, I was able to create friendships and relationships and things that worked out. But, you know, I don't think it actually changed how I really perceived how we are looked at in this business, in this work, in these environments where you are part of this collegiate system, when you are part of this elite system, how you still are treated like othered, or just treated like that special Negro, or, you know, they can't wait to figure out why you actually don't belong there. And so that was something that I definitely learned a lot from that. What else have I been reading? I don't know. It's been so long and I get very high.
My man.
That's all I got for right now. What else is there? I don't know. I can probably tell you movies quicker than books.
That was gonna be my next one. So yeah,
Perfect. Because it'll just be long silences, and then I'll text you later. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was really amazing for me.
Love that.
That was really good. I made my cousin eat mushrooms and watch that. And
Never done that, but that sounds like a good idea.
yeah, I don't know if it was a good idea to do to him. It was funny to me. It was hilarious to me. It was very, very.
He was very
funny.
new to mushrooms, apparently.
He was new to mushrooms, had never seen the movie, but knew it was happening in the movie. And then there's still at one point goes, I know what's happening, but turn it off.
Turn it off. No, that's funny.
He's like, oh, okay, all right.
Too much for you, I understand.
I get you. I really like that. Malcolm X movie was a big deal.
Man, that when the second you said the autobiography of Malcolm X, I'm like, that movie was
great. Movie's great. I remember thinking like 3 hours, but then when I saw it, I was like, okay, all right.
This brother starved.
That movie's great when he does this.
Oh, and everybody.
Yeah, and then they use that again in The Harder They Fall.
The harder they fall.
The Harder They Fall with
they do,
Regina
yeah.
King when she's at the train and she's like this and she's got him and she does that with the leather glove. I love it
Because it always gets that same look.
yeah,
This nigga got too much power. Hold on now.
I love it. I
That's
fucking
amazing.
love it, man. I always loved that. I was a big fan of Peter Sellers. Oh, Dr. Strangelove, man.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it is fucking weird. It's satire and it's dry as hell. And it's during the bomb scare.
Oh,
right?
okay, got
Like
it.
people hiding under there, and it's it affected people so much they had to put a warning because what happened was the premise of it is that a military guy loses his shit and is basically drops the bomb on another nation, and then it causes like World War III. And so they had to put a disclaimer to let folks know this can't happen.
This won't happen. This couldn't possibly happen.
This couldn't possibly happen because of so and so. But it's a great movie. Peter Sellers plays about 3 different roles in it, and it's just really well done. Like I've been trying to move on. I've directed like a couple of things, and learning from that. Like I just really love pictures and cinematography, and that sort of thing. And it's just it's a well done movie, tonally and cinematography wise.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dope. I gotta watch it. Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah. One of James Earl Jones's first roles.
Oh, now you
that
really got
old.
me in. That's
It's
wild.
that old. One of James Earl Jones's first roles. Yeah.
First role.
First role. James Earl Jones.
That's like being like, it's one of Morgan
Freeman's first roles. You're like,
sheesh.
yeah, I think it might be his first role. I mean, always been a theater dude, but I think it's his first role on screen.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I want to just know, where do you like to travel to? Where have the places that you've been that make you go like, oh nah, nigga, I gotta travel more. Like I gotta be.
Where did I recently go? So when I was again, height of the pandemic is when I started to go, I need to travel and see people. So I think I literally sent out a
He said,
thing.
these tickets cheap, nigga. I'm going. I'm out.
It sounded like $1 to go anywhere.
Literally.
But
And that's not even Spirit.
no. But I think, where did I go? I was in Hawaii. I was in Mexico.
Okay.
I hadn't been there, like to some other parts of Mexico. I had visited Memphis. I was gonna go to Croatia to visit my buddy Goran from Timeless. But I had gotten sick while I was in Memphis and almost died.
Was it COVID?
No. So I got this phantom illness that only happens to like. So I was doing. Do you know Lil Buck?
Lil Buck.
Lil Buck. He's popularized Memphis Jukin, right? Along with a whole bunch of other cats. But he got famous doing something with Yo-Yo Ma, and so I wrote a show called Memphis Jukin. And when I was first writing it, I was there for rehearsals, and then what happened was I just started getting tight right around here, and then I was feeling sicker and sicker, and then I was like, I gotta stay at the house, and then fluid started coming, and then I couldn't breathe, and then I'm trying to call on the cell phone, and then I'm like looking in the mirror, and I'm like, oh wow, like in my head, I'm like, I'm going to die. And the last thing I did was timeless. I need to do something else. No. I was like, and I'm trying to call 911 and I can't speak, and she's like asking me questions and trying to do it. And I'm like, I can't talk. And I'm losing my shit. And I try and call the downstairs because I'm like, I know at least they can connect that if I can't say whatever. So finally, apparently my boy Alex had heard it through the door, comes in, he helps me out. I get downstairs and blah, blah, blah. And I wind up going to the hospital. I find out later that first they thought it was an angioedema, so so it's this rare breathing thing that's where you get swollen and it randomly happens. And so they were like, we're not sure if it's an angioedema, but we treated it like an angioedema and you got better. So the funny thing was, and the nurse, I'd been friends with her. I'm cracking jokes. I'm like half dying, but hitting on her, And so it's funny because she was like, yeah, we thought you were going to die, man. Like, and it's funny when I got in there, I'm being wheeled in. I can barely breathe. I'm holding a bag of fluid. I'm on a gurney and it's a learning hospital. And there's a brother there who's an intern. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, where do I know you from?
That's amazing. Have you seen it? No, I don't watch TV.
I don't watch TV. I literally go, I'm going to die. It's like, all right. I think it's timeless.
I think, yeah. We're going to put you on room number, insurance card.
It's real interesting. But I made it.
Man, that's wild, man. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I think it wound up being, I have it written down somewhere.
On one of those sheets of paper.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Man. Well, listen, brother, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for coming through, man.
Of course.
Very fun conversation. very,
it was a lot of fun.
And
you got to end it at I don't watch television.
Oh, for sure. That's the way. That's the way to do it. But no, man. Thanks for coming through, bro. Thanks for imparting any.
Yeah, man.
And all
Thanks
the
for
wisdom.
having me, man.
Yeah,
Thank
bro.
you, man.
We got to kick it more in general.
Yeah,
the fact
for
that you're so
sure.
close
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like how people, you know what I mean?
I don't know. It's like, let's make this beats real quick. Let's go.
All right, man. We out. Love, right?
Peace. Yeah. Yeah. A freestyle for the people. This is for the good, not evil. See you at the church in the steeple. I've been ill since I was an infantile. I guess I had degrees like I'm juvenile. You get it? I had to spit it for the people listening. I keep rotating and glistening. For people missing the mission is Mr. Malcolm. The outcome be the best you ever seen. Been tap dancing like I'm Ben Vereen. I stay clean, even when I stay dirty. It's all worth it. Ever since I hit 30, I've been worth it. Like I was James. It's insane how I stayed out of my lowest lane. It's Superman. If you ever check the resume, especially when I'm cooking up the recipe, yes, you shining like a Sharpay with no delay. Hey, for horses, I've been hoarse, but now you listening to the mic devices. I know I've been this since I was crisis age when he first got killed. This is the knowledge as I spill before the real deal. Yeah, you in the pickle. I know you act like Pink the way I tickle me ridiculously the way that I watch the movie. I dare you, girl, to soothe me. I'm groovy like the 70s, if you hear me. This is me when I start to grooving like a theory. I'm old school, but I hit 'em with the boom bap. Yes, this is for all you little super cats who know about the reggae from back in the day. I guess you act like you really know. Hey, ho, yes, no, go. go like I was Flojo. So act like you really know before I kick it like I was chilling in the snow. This is for the people who was kicking the reggae. Yay, I'm sure I got some fans. Now spin it, cause I've been the man. I'm stutter stepping whenever I get to reppin'. But if you herbs ain't know that my words are weapons for inspection. My dialect is better when I act or I direct. So let me get specific and get it before I mess with your brain like whippets. I stick it to the man. Goddamn, I ran a mile in my own shoes. Now this the groove, peruse. Shit, you ain't got nothing to lose. Now watch how far I go. It's verbal and on the beats be maestro. I know. Yeah, I call you over, dog, like you a Fido. I'm slow, or I be quick. But either way, you know that I be sick. Yes, I know you try to hate this. You and your dominatrix, I'm chillin' in the matrix. A Sony property, nobody stopping me, especially when I move illogically. Paparazzi be flashing me, why you even asking me before you start to tasking me? This is for the players with no delay, I had to say, hey ya. Now word the outcast and I'ma just be out fast. Hey ya. And if you didn't know, the whole thing been a blast, I laugh. I told you before, that's what you get for asking gas. I'm from the future, but I can bring it to the past.
He timeless, y'all.
Yes, but never rhymeless, y'all.
But he timeless, y'all.
Yes, but never rhymeless, y'all.
But he timeless, y'all.
Yeah, but never rhymeless, y'all. You check the presence, I know I'm too decadent. And if you didn't know, it's pretty evident. It's effervescent, especially when I kick the magic. You had to have it, I did it 3 times just like a hat trick. Yeah, you cannot handle the way that I blow the spot, make it hot like a candle. I'm just rhyming about the shit in the room. I'm about to kill you, and you don't even need a tomb. I'm in your womb, boom, bapping for the shit that happened, for all the people that was lacking. Whoo, I guess I'm dark, I'm where it came to spark. Shoot you like I'm Starks. Yeah, I guess I'm streaky. The album came out, guess it was leaky. I'm at my peak though. Shit, my money talk fast, I speak slow.
Now that's hard. My man. That was cold.